That doesn't mean you're ready. It just means you've been going all day.
I'm ready.
Chances are, if you've been going all day, 100 miles an hour all day, then you're probably not ready anymore because the tire's flat on the car. And
that was warm. Our tire is not flat. There's not a flat tire on any vehicle out there. The axle is in 2 pieces.
Then you ain't ready.
Fuck. I could have kept going. Had to, shit, one of the kids is like, I'm scared, let me out.
Really?
Yeah. The other kid's like, don't even slow down, just kick him out of the car. He can get out on his own.
I'm scared, let me out.
I'm scared. That's the same kid that didn't close his door, so we fucking smacked something with his open door.
Did I just knock on the
No,
paper
I did
here?
that.
Oh.
I just kicked that. Podcast episode 72.
It is 72.
72, 5/22, March 29th. A lot of guys in town for Fighting Pistol. We've had a shop full of people most of the day. Dude came and Brad Mead brought 20 pies.
20? It looked like 100.
It's fucking awesome.
It's here. Hey man, if you guys are watching, no, I'm not saying.
What? Say it.
I'm just gonna say, if you think you're gonna bring 20 pies to SOE, try and figure out what pie we want at SOE.
Oh, because my favorite's banana and yours is chocolate.
Yeah, and none of those came.
But they brought all the traditional. There's cherry, rhubarb.
Yeah, all the pies that old people eat. If you go to an old folks' home and you see people gamming their gams, that's the pies they're eating. They're not
Maybe
eating
maybe a pie like that wouldn't have made the trip.
Maybe that's. I mean,
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. The employees, what is on my beard here?
Here.
The employees loved those pies. They tore the shit out of those pies. All the pies are gone. John probably ate.
I ate a piece of every pie.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
I
Can't
ate
do
a
it.
pie's worth of pie, but they were small pieces. Chef
Yeah,
Holden
I saw
back
them. They
on
were
me,
pretty.
and he didn't even pour me.
They were
milk.
pretty dainty. You know when you didn't get to see it because you were out breaking axles and shit. But when the bell finally rang and everybody was like free pie.
Who was fighting? Who was the fastest?
Amanda took off like I've never seen her before in my life. She fucking hauled ass. Did a little slide, grabbed her pie, and flew back to her little spot before anybody else was even out of their
I heard there was
chairs.
still a pie around.
Woo!
She had 2 pieces. So much for keto, huh?
Well, yeah, she said, she's like, I'm not keto. And she checked her blood sugar, and it was 243.
Is that high?
It's so fucking high. That's 20 units of insulin.
Does she need? We need to go stab her right now?
No. What'll happen is her
spleen will quit working.
her spleen will quit working, and she'll be fine.
What is it that makes your insulin?
Your
Not your spleen.
It's not your spleen. It's your jejunum.
Jejunum.
No,
How do I massage that?
God, what the fuck?
Which
Pancreas? Pancreas, I think.
Can I reach it?
You can.
Can I reach it internally?
You can, but you have to go really deep.
Like elbow?
I'm guessing a little past the wrist.
I've been practicing
I know you can.
So, podcast episode 72. So anyways, we have people here. Some kids came in to get some belts. Youngest kids ever, I believe they are 8 years old to take fighting pistol. Cody took it at 11 and held that record until these kids broke that record. So they were here getting some belts. Super smart kids, man. I'm like, how do you know? So he's like telling me I hear him about plague masks and all kind. I'm like, how do you know? He's like, I like to read dictionaries. I'm like, all right.
With that. That's good.
They're asking about the razors. I'm like, come on. I'll show you some razors.
Those are the old questions.
Yeah, we'll just roll into these because it's Friday. I know you want to go home, so we'll just do this.
What? That's it? What?
We'll just do these. And about the black bear, brown bear story in nature aggression can only be met with aggression. Humans are the only species dumb enough to think appeasement will keep them safe. In reality, a safe space is behind the rear sight. Love the podcast. Keep the videos. Love all the gear. Keep it up, guys. Yeah. So for people that believe that just appease them, just send your chick out without any fucking, all you liberals, just send your women out into the park at night by themselves or to Walmart by themselves or whatever. And when the raping comes, tell them to just give that fucking pussy up and let the raping happen and just appease the bad guy and nothing bad will happen to him. Or kill them and fucking end it, and then you don't have to go to fucking court a bunch of times. If you kill them during the raping, you only got to go to court once. Probably not even court. But if you wound them or, worse, you got to go to court a bunch of times, and you still got a raping. So prevent your raping. That should be a patch. No
Should
raping.
be. I mean, when you think about just think about the United States. At the end of World War II, we dropped 2 atomic bombs. We did something that no country has ever done before, and no civilization could do prior.
And then we run around and act like we fucking should feel sorry for it.
But nobody. Think about that time period between then and the World Trade Center. No one fucked with us ever because of that very reason. Because every nation state thought, man, the United States is pretty crazy. They'll do some crazy shit. You know, we're not going to fuck with the United States. That's why, you know, if you look at the other nation states, Russia and England, they had terrorist shit going on. Like, the minute the war ended, the minute World War II ended, they had terrorist shit going on in their countries. You know why? Because the countries that were harboring those terrorist camps were like, what are the fucking Brits going to do? What are the Russians going to do? You notice they weren't attacking us. The only thing that Bin Laden did was Bin Laden, when he first attacked the Cole and then he attacked the Kenyan embassy, is he showed, under Bill Clinton by the way, he showed that you could poke the United States and we wouldn't do anything. That keep poking the United States. They're not doing anything. Look, we just blew this boat up. They didn't do shit. We just blew this embassy up. They didn't do shit. We can fucking take down the World Trade Center. You have to, when it's time, that's why I always say that, you know, no troops should leave the United States unless there's a declaration of war. And when that declaration of war is signed off, it should be, no one comes home till it's over. Those are your assets. Use them accordingly. And we kill everybody until the last person comes out of a fucking hole with a white flag going, hey, dude, you want to put a base here? That's fine. That's great. We're done. We're over. That's the way it should be. If we did that, we would have no problems in the world right now. None.
Flores, what's up, man? I didn't realize that was you.
Oh, Flores. Hey.
Flores, Marine. I enjoyed this video. Thanks, everyone at SOE. Dan said.
You're welcome.
Watching Active Valor with my 12-year-old right now. Skully, did you experience a maritime external air transportation system insertion or anything else? Stab. Like a spy. He's asking, did you have a spy or stabo or...
Yeah. Special boat teams. You know, so as far as extra, we don't really use it for insert. Like you wouldn't want to use it for insert. It's really more of an extraction thing. I don't think anyone, to include the ninjas, have used that rig for an extraction under enemy fire since Vietnam. So it's kind of like the military version of a carnival ride.
What about the hot air balloon deployment, and then the C-130 fucking grabs that line and snatches your ass as it fucking flies past? How about that one? What is that even fucking called?
It's an extraction. It's an extraction. It's a hostile
ejection. It's the opposite of fucking air lay.
It's a hostile something, but it is so fucking.
It kills most of the dudes.
They haven't. Nobody's really. It's not one of those things like, hey, guess what we're gonna do today? I believe that they've only done it twice.
I think it snaps a motherfucker in half.
Twice with real people, but it's only for getting. So like if it'd be like. Delta Force is in the jungles of Vietnam and they capture Ho Chi Minh. They wouldn't.
Oh, so we're using it to
we're not using bad guys. We're not using it for us. They capture Ho Chi Minh and they want to get him out of there because the North Vietnamese are going to be coming to get Ho Chi Minh back, and you're going to be fighting your way out, and you don't want to lose him. You throw that fucking balloon up, they grab him, and then reality, you're on your fucking own.
And in reality, you know who would have grabbed him? Seals, because. When you want to kill a bunch of people, you send SEALs.
Oh man!
If we wanted Ho Chi Minh to like be on our side and do prayer with us, and build some roads and some schools and shit, who would you send? Special forces, of course. Yeah. But if you want to kill a motherfucker, grab a motherfucker, send him to the spaceship and then into a submarine.
That's 100%.
That's SEAL teams all the way.
100% why we would not send SEAls.
Because they'd have killed him.
Yeah,
they kill everything.
So that's why we
like SEAL teams like the plague.
Maybe, kind of.
And then you have you can't have special SEALs around vanilla SEAls either.
No, you can't. You can't have the
the strawberry ice cream with the fucking sprinkle seals around the vanilla seals.
No, you can't do that. They got to be separated.
Skully is dead on. I have a Dillon 650 as well, and about to get an RCBS for my rifle rounds. Listening to episode 70, the dude who ate the Twizzlers and then had Twizzlers show up on in his served ad stuff. Remember that most of you gave Facebook and other apps access to your camera. Oh, yeah. Oh, shit, yeah.
Camera.
They have facial recognition. Library of corporation logos is child's play compared to human face. Good point, Scott. If I was eating Twizzlers, I wouldn't have had my phone out, though. It would have been in my pocket.
Twizzlers,
it would have been in my pocket.
It still would have, just
yeah,
because of the
RFID. I'm saying.
But I'm saying it's because of the wrapper, the special wrapper they have it in. Your phone's microphone picked that up.
It's actually
it just knew Twizzlers.
It's the blue paint on the Twizzler package.
Could be the blue
paint. Twizzlers
yeah.
still have like blue and white packaging.
I don't know. Something about that too.
You know, Twizzlers aren't even made of licorice.
No, what? Nothing is made of anything that you think it's made of. I was just listening to this podcast about now that you are. They were talking to this guy that was investigating this murder, and he released some information that. I mean, you already know this. I'm sure most of you know this, but they were talking about telephones, and he said, as a private investigator, there is a company in Canada. So you can send your PI credentials. Just think about that, your PI credentials, and join this company in Canada, and they will ping any phone that you give them a phone number to. So they'll ping it, and the technology is so good now that even if your phone is turned off, they can still ping your phone.
Yeah, because of the capacitors.
Yeah, and all it's doing is just like it's like. Hunt for Red October. It's just sending out a signal, beep, beep, and then your phone goes beep, and you don't even know it, and it tells them where you're located at. The other thing he was talking about, I know me and John talked about this a lot, and I kind of didn't put this together, which I probably should have, is, you know, we were talking about the license plate readers. The license plate readers are actually in more places than we think. It's not just on police cars anymore, so the minute you go through an intersection, it's reading license plates, all that shit. But the license plates readers are all over the place. And they were saying that now, if they want to, if the police want to, they can get a 10-year history of where your car has been.
Oh, they can do that off your phone. They can
just
do that.
Where your car has been, just off the
they know where your phone's been.
Yeah, but that's different because the phone doesn't necessarily.
So like Google, I don't know if you'll have it because I have a Google. SOE is a Google place, right? It's a Google destination. So my phone, at the end of the day, like when I go to Nashville, it's like, would you like to post your route? Mm-hmm. It'll show everywhere I went, how long I was there, the map that I took. So if people want to duplicate it, like they know every place.
That was the thing with the Fitbit watches. With the Fitbit watches, because there's no security on it, all the ninjas like to go run. And they had a detailed map of the perimeter of all the facilities over in Iraq.
Oh shit!
Because
of the runners.
Because of the runners, and the Fitbit would tell you, they would be able to look and see where exactly all the roads were and shit because of the Fitbit. So they had to nip that in the bud and tell those guys, run like the old days. You don't need to know how far you're going, bitches.
So I'm walking past Amanda's desk, I don't know, a couple days ago, right? And there's some printouts of my truck from an aerial view. And I stop and I'm like, what the fuck is that? And I look, and there's a printout of me and Amanda in the truck from an aerial view. And she comes down, I go, what the fuck is this? We were on a toll road someplace that we didn't even know we were on a toll road in the Toyota, and it sent us a ticket basically saying that we owe $4.11. $4.11. And I go, where was this? She goes, I don't know where this was.
I love you. I love you, Tennessee. I so much love Tennessee.
I don't know if we were in Tennessee.
In the truck?
Could have been.
It could have been, yeah.
I guess it could have been Kentucky. Could have been a few places.
But that would have been a $500 fine in California, And then like I rolled through.
But the thing is, like, we didn't go through any gates. Like, we didn't go through a toll. Like, there wasn't an on-ramp that stop and drop a quarter. Like, none of that shit. Like, we legitimately have no fucking idea where the toll, where we were when that happened.
Well, the picture tells us.
I'm sure it has a GPS coordinate. $4 $4.85. The Morgan Aeromax Coupe, such a sexy car. I'd love to have a vintage one and a new one painted alike. Weapon collection, I am not familiar with that vehicle. Placed a small order for some odds and ends I needed and got a badass Crink shirt. Gonna be 100% badassery with the Velcro backed mag card going into my large tool bag with Crink and micro rig in it. Order number, I know I'm small time compared to some customers, but I feel I'm treated just as good. Pete, man, do not worry about how much money you spent. Thank you for spending money. If there's anything we can do for you, let us know. Tool bag, great product. We built a ton of large tool bags today. All the mag cards and pockets and stuff that go in them, we have those. Check your email by the time you hear this. Monday will come around. Monday is April Fool's, so definitely check your email.
I'm just going to say this because I mentioned this and a lot of you were looking for it. If you look up NASA high impulse weapon system, you'll see that 82 millimeter mortar that they're firing from the shoulder.
There it is, impulse.
Yeah, high impulse weapon system that NASA wanted to shoot fucking Chinese on the dark side of the moon.
The banks are asking about deposits here because the marijuana business that popped up when they legalized it, they don't want anything to do with those businesses. Whatever. Fucking retards.
I mean, no, that's not true. It's 100% not true. It's 100% not true. Every time they might be saying that publicly, but the banks do billions of dollars in
interest,
illegal dope money every year. I think, what bank was that? What Morgan? I don't know if it was Morgan Stanley or what. That they did $31 billion in cartel money. And we went after them and said, okay, you can't do that.
You got to give us.
We're going to fine you $11 million.
Oh yeah, I did.
Do you think? Yeah. Do you honestly think that was a deterrent? Wait a minute, we just made $31 billion. I got to give them $11 million.
Not even a fraction of a
That's
percent.
not even a tax. They really didn't even tax this. Yeah, the banks are doing all kinds of illegal money. The issue there, though, is they have to report it. They have to report it not because the bank doesn't want to do illegal money. They have to report it because the feds want to get their taste. Who do you think they're reporting it to? They're not reporting it to the fucking CEO of Morgan and Stanley Chase. They're reporting it to the fucking federal government.
Hi, all. Dropping a few questions. You guys saw Joe Rogan on InfoWars?
I saw Joe Rogan. I didn't see the one on InfoWars.
Kind of cool. Joe went on InfoWars. I didn't know that. I have visited the country a few times, but never been able to visit the state in particular. How good is the barbecue there? It's supposed to be pretty good, Raphael. Memphis barbecue is pretty famous. They have a Memphis in May barbecue festival. I believe Nashville has something like that. I like wet ribs. I like ribs with a sweet, wet barbecue sauce. I know a lot of people are like, no, it's got to be dry. I want a sweet-ass barbecue rib. I like pork ribs better than beef ribs, but I'll take either one. You guys got something like the barbecue trail in Carolina, or that is just particular to that region? I'm not sure, man. I think the Memphis in May probably. And on the off-road talk, the Unimog is cool, but have you guys seen the Dodge Power Wagon Resta mod? World War WW2 restores one. I have not seen that, man.
I haven't seen it either.
I know Chris Costa had the big AEV Dodge Power Wagon. What do you guys think about head transplants becoming a reality? Didn't they do that? I thought that happened.
I don't
do you think it was discovered for legitimate medical use or for the advancement of military biotechnology? We whistle and yell like we are driving cattle if we happen to be packing an elk harvest out in bear country.
I don't think the actual head transplant has happened yet.
Russia, right?
Yeah, it's a Russian guy, paraplegic dude. I don't think it's happened yet. It will happen. We just like to,
What are we waiting for? Why don't
we just like to tinker. I can't remember. There was one little problem that they had to solve, but we like to tinker. I mean, they've already done, I want to say that the number now is 8 total face transplants. They've taken a face off a dead person and then slapped it on somebody that needed a new face. So, we like to tinker. I wouldn't necessarily say it has anything to do with military, the military side of the house. And the only reason why I say that is because the military is pushing for autonomous vehicles to include soldiers. They don't want flesh and blood out on the battlefield anymore. The only thing they're going to use us for is to sit in some fucking trailer in Arizona somewhere, sweating your ass off with a joystick, driving a fucking robot onto the battlefield. So I don't really see a need for it in the military.
John, baller status outranked the dealer. 50 Cent proved that to Ferrari. When he bypassed their system and bought #1 issued VIN, then had the old plastic chrome put on it. But he talked about them saying he couldn't get it. Then he proved to them he could, like Conor McGregor's little leprechaun ass owning one. Own it, but can't drive it. I ain't mad you got it. Thanks SOE and crew for the content. Also, Joe Rogan doesn't know what his car costs. Not even his 65 Fuelie big block vet. He doesn't know what his new badass Tesla even costs. That's close to John's status. I think he was quoted saying, "I don't know, I just fucking wanted it." Good for him and all of those who can outbuy the dealer. Have a great weekend.
You got to think too, though. When you talk about 50 Cent and Ferrari,
a lot of that's probably staged for.
Yeah, maybe that was Ferrari going, "Yeah, 50 Cent, you can't have it," knowing that 50 Cent was going to create a lot of hoopla 100%. Around getting that Ferrari.
50 Cent just went out recently, 6 months ago. Bought, what did he buy, 20 cars? There's fucking video of him out there shopping them. He went to the Bugatti dealer. He's like, "How much are these Bugatti chairs?" $40,000 a piece. He's like, "Holy shit, $2 million for these cars and shit." Fuck, more power to him, man. That's the same thing. If you watch Ed Bolian, watch Vin Wiki, there's some dudes, buying up Porsches, buying options on Porsches. When you're a Porsche owner, to buy certain new release models, Ferrari, for instance, certain models of Porsches, the RS2s and stuff, you have to be a previous owner in order to put in to buy them. Well, guys were buying options on them. So basically, you're waiting, 6 months to a year for these cars. You put down, $5,000, $10,000 holds your spot. Well, dudes were selling their spots as these cars were starting to hit the market. The value was already going up by the time they hit the floors. So your $250,000 car is now worth $500,000. These dudes would sell those options. They only had $5,000 in it, but they would sell it for $500,000 or whatever it was, right? Well, Porsche caught on to that, and they started locking down the dealers. You had to live in that area and shit. They caught on to that. There were dudes that gamed the system, and then there's dudes that are no longer allowed to go buy Porsches from Porsche, so you have to buy them secondhand market. It just drives the value. It's the same reason we don't sit on inventory. We don't build, even though I know we can sell 600 tool bags in a month and a half. We don't ever build that because I want less out there. We only build 24 at a time, then another color, and then another color, and then maybe 100 of this. We do that because I want the rarity, I want the urgency, I want the people to move. And then when they get that shit, they sell it. They are actually able to resell our product for more than they fucking paid for it most of the time. So we do that intentionally. Have you guys heard that Wise Food Storage Company turned all their customer info over to the government? Any truth to it? And why do you think the government will do, what do you think they'll do with the info? I have heard that. I've heard that not only of Wise Food, but I mean, every prepper place. I mean, fucking Paladin Press turned over all their fucking shit to the FBI. Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me. And you should think anyways, how did you pay for your Wise Food? How did you pay for your Mountain House? Yeah. How did you pay for your Provident Pantry? I would have to assume that shit's probably data mined anyway. So, I mean, it's not a very far step to think somebody buying that stuff also has weapons and is also amassing, So, I mean, they kind of go hand in hand. So, of course they know it. Whether they turned it over or not, they know it anyways. How'd you pay for it? Did you walk in and pay cash someplace? Probably not.
The other thing too is in an emergency, in a national emergency type situation, what you may be aware of or may not be aware of is, in a national type emergency situation, they can confiscate whatever you have. So if you have fucking,
and whether they 4, can or not, they will at gunpoint.
If you have 4,000 cases of MREs, and under the guise of a national emergency, they can come take your MREs. So if they already know where all the fucking food caches are, then they don't really have to do any food caching.
Skully, did you know that in the late 80s, Pepsi became the 6th largest military in the world when Russia gave them 17 submarines, a cruiser, a frigate, and a destroyer to pay for the cost of the agreement to keep serving Pepsi in their country? Pepsi did a better job disarming the Russians than the CIA could. Greetings from Puerto Vallarta, Mexico.
I wonder what they did with those ships.
Raul, man, thank you for watching. Fucking very cool. I'd never heard that.
I wonder what they did with those ships. I'm gonna have to do a little Pepsi Cola research. See if they still have some sort of.
Did he say 6th largest military?
Yeah, 6th largest military.
Because Disney is actually the 6th largest navy in the world.
Yeah.
Disney actually has the 7th largest ocean in the world, I believe.
They have. What did they say? They have. If you count submarines, they're the 3rd.
I thought their naval fleet was actually bigger than ours.
Yeah.
If you had
count all their shit, if you count all their shits, yeah.
Damn it, Skully. The F-35 is the Lightning II. The Raptor is the F-22. Truth, haha. Keep up the Warthog praise, though. It is a sturdy monster killer. F-35 is continued living proof that the higher they go in leadership roles in any business, military or corporate, the less they understand about one size fits all. Worst compromise airplane in a very long time. Fucking loving the podcast.
It's just when you can start, it's when you can, as a government contractor, I mean, think about it, man. When you can charge millions, I mean fucking millions of dollars, just crazy amount of number. F-35 and F-22s, the dollar amount that they charge for one fucking aircraft. That's just amazing. You only have to make one. Hey, just make one of those and we're all going to be rich. And then the government says we want 325 of them. It's just fucking awesome that we waste that much money, because neither one of those planes have the capability to loiter over the battlefield at all. And when you actually lay out the ordnance they carry, all 325 have to go to fucking do anything terrible.
Do real shit. Love it, guys. Keep up the good work. James Blackwell, thank you, man. Roy and Brittany, what's your opinion on the SWAT team in Arizona kicking in the family's door? So the news said that the mother of the child took her daughter to the doctor for a fever of 105. The doctor learned the mother chose not to vaccinate the daughter and told the mother to take the child to the ER. Upon leaving the doctor's office, the child's temp went down to 100, so the kid's parents chose not to take the kid to the ER. They went home instead because the girl was feeling better. Unknown to the parents, the doctor had called Child Protective Services and reported the parents. His reason was he feared for the child's health because there had been a few cases of meningitis across town and the child wasn't vaccinated. So, long story short, the SWAT team came later that night, smashed the door down. Child Protective Services took the girl and another kid into custody. I'm not sure if the parents were charged with anything. Is it really true? I mean,
I don't know, but I mean, I can just see it. So, militarization of law enforcement is a big problem in the United States, because if we have tanks, we feel like we have to use tanks. There was just another situation in Texas where these police officers thought they were fucking busting a heroin ring, kicked in the door, shot the fucking dog that was inside the door. The homeowner was like, somebody's in my house shooting, fires a shot, wounds one of the cops. The cops immediately kill everybody in the house. That is the militarization of the law enforcement, which is it's not good for regular citizens. I mean, I'm all for rolling up bad guys and shit, but let's be real. If there's a house that has some people selling marijuana out of it, and you've got tanks and body armor and all. There's no reason for you to fire a rocket through the window. There's just no reason for it. There's just no reason for the kind of tactics that they're using today, except for the fact that they need to justify that equipment. And that's how they justify that equipment.
No, I mean, fuck, go back 15 years, like our raid, when they raided me. They were in my shop at 7 in the morning. Yeah. 2 NCIS officers. Nobody was there but me. They could have been like, hey, put these handcuffs on.
Yep.
We need to fucking search your building. And then called everybody in. Or, when they came back an hour and a half later and flashbanged the shop, like they had Jennifer at the house with the keys.
Yeah.
They didn't have to fucking explosive breach or mechanical breach the door. Same at Brett's house. They had SB at the house with the keys.
They have to justify
and they fucking water charged. They explosive breached his fucking doors.
They have to justify having that capability, and so more times than not, that capability is actually being abused. You know, a really good law enforcement example of that is Waco, Texas.
Fuck yeah.
I know. It doesn't matter where you fall on the line. Branch Davidians were totally guilty of a crime, or Branch Davidians were not guilty of a crime. The fact of the matter is that David Koresh went into town every fucking day. They could have arrested him any time they wanted. When
the
ATF said, "Hey, we're gonna go fucking burn this fucking house down," the sheriff said, "You don't need to. I'll just drive out there and pick him up. I'll just go get him. We're friends. He will come with me, and then you can do..." But no, it had nothing to do with that. That is why all those news crews were out there, because the ATF needed to show off and flex their fucking muscle and look at all these MP5s we have and all this cool body armor and cool...
Think about it. When they executed the initial raid, there was video on CNN Live. ATF agents climbing a ladder. What is also there, the very first shots fired, ATF agent slipped on the ladder and fired his MP5 and fired a string into the building of the second floor window. Shots were returned at that point. I watched it myself. I saw it with my own fucking eyes. Every time they played it for the next 6 weeks over that, you never saw that again. There was the truth about Waco, Texas. It was a VHS tape you could buy at the gun show. It was on there.
You can...
So the question is, why were the news crews there when the ATF was initiating the initial warrant? They called those motherfuckers. They didn't come out there hours later when some gunshots were happening. Everybody was fucking there.
Yeah, they thought it was going to be a fucking... They thought they were going to get some cool publicity of ATF arresting David Koresh and while they were flexing their muscles, and that's what ends up happening. What ends up happening is when law enforcement falls back on the military tactics that they are being taught, civilians get killed. Once again, even if the Branch Davidians were completely guilty of the most heinous crimes you can think of, that's no reason to burn up all those fucking children.
Okay, update. Same guys. Update. It was a little boy, not a girl. He did not have meningitis, and he is fine. The cops took several children and have yet to return them. It happened a day ago, and no charges have been filed against the parents. If that's not kidnapping, I don't know what is. I respect cops as much as the next guy, but they should all be charged with home invasion, kidnapping, destruction of property. I mean, goddamn, imagine what's going through the kid's mind as all this went down.
I'm not a fan of not vaccinating your children, because there are horrible things in this world that we are accustomed to those horrible things not happening around us anymore because of vaccinations. But you know, what the fuck do you need a SWAT team for that for?
On the other hand,
social worker could go out there and take care of that.
On the other hand, if you have an unvaccinated child, about the last fucking place I would want him to be is a goddamn emergency room. Fucking,
oh yeah, I
mean, think of the diseases running around there.
Speaking of diseases, so this is interesting. Go ahead and look this up if you want to. They did a test swab. They did test swabs in the New York subway system.
Oh god!
So the polls in the New York subway system,
Ebola?
They found everything to include Ebola. Okay, so they found Ebola on the polls in the New York subway system, but they found 3 viruses that have not been identified. Wow. They can't identify them. That's just crazy. When you think about all the stuff that's out there that you touch, like John and Amanda love the McDonald's kiosks. And like 2 days ago, I was reading this whole article about...
I like the idea.
All McDonald's kiosks are covered in poop.
Oh, yeah. Well, think about that. All of your shopping carts are going to be for sure.
Yeah, poop.
All of your gas pumps are going to be. That's why they have gloves there and they have alcohol wipes and shit.
Poop. Yeah, everywhere.
100%. It won't be long. And I mean, they might already have it. It won't be long, whereas you could just fucking order it on your phone and it'll communicate to where you don't have to talk.
I think Maybe I might not be thinking right, but I think the McDonald's in Waverly, you can order on your phone and then just show up.
Shit, when we go to Starbucks on the weekend, we'll be sitting there waiting for our coffee or whatever, and 40 different people will walk in and get their shit. You'll be waiting. You're like, what the fuck are we waiting for? We've been here an awful long time. It's because 20 motherfuckers called their shit in. So just because you walk in and there's 5 dudes, that doesn't mean there's not fucking 20 people ahead of you. Received my SOE 556 shirt. Fits great and comfortable. Keep up the good work on the podcast. Chris, glad you like it. We've got a 7.62x39 also that you should check out. And then we've got a 45 coming, a 9mm, and a 308.
45.
And a 12 gauge. Great podcast. Wanted to get some input from you on starting a business versus working for someone else. What do you and Skully see as some of the pros and cons?
Of what? Starting a business?
Yeah.
The con is, here's the con. 80% of all small businesses fail. The pros, you're working for yourself, which is also a con because you have the ability to not work because you're working for yourself. You don't have that monkey on your back. But if you got something, here's the thing. I don't care what it is you're selling. Right now in history, this is the greatest time ever to start your own business. If you have a product that you
The only better time was yesterday.
If you have a product that you can make, or whatever you're doing, right now is the best time. Why? Because you don't need distributors, you don't need middlemen, you don't need all that fucking infrastructure that Sears needed to sell a fucking hammer. You don't need that anymore.
We were in an old Sears and Roebuck building last weekend.
Yeah.
It's fucking cool.
You don't need that shit anymore because of the internet.
Not like a modern one, like a court square 3-story basement fucking windows that were set up some little town in Tennessee. I don't even remember what town it was. It was fucking neat though.
But yeah, you don't need any of that infrastructure anymore, and with a click of a button on the computer you can reach billions of people. Billions. Like, you could come up with something that is just nothing, a fucking finger puppet warmer, and if 1% of everybody in the world are like, that is the fucking coolest fucking thing on the planet, your life has just completely changed.
So on our video, the original tool bag with the Toyota, right, where we drove over it, some assholes have showed up. It seems like every couple days some new asshole shows up talking shit, right? And this dude shows up, he's like, was anybody actually in special operation? I'm like, if we're going to go down this dialogue, you go find out for yourself. We've been around 30 years. I'm sure you can figure out who's who. And he's like, okay, so that's a no. I'm like, dude, if you don't like what we're doing, go spend your time somewhere else, because there's 300 fucking comments here of people that do like us. And he goes, oh, you guys have, I don't know, I go, you see that 700,000 over there? That's the people that have clicked that they want to see what we're saying, 700,000. He goes, oh, so you've reached 1% of everybody on Facebook. Every minimal business has done that. I go, motherfucker, you don't math too well. I would be more than happy to have fucking $1 of every fucking person on Facebook, or 1% of every person on Facebook. You fucking dumb motherfucker. The deal is, like, I don't know what your business is. I don't know why you guys ask us these questions all the time and don't give us the fucking arm us with the information. Provide a better product than is available, or provide better service than is available. And if you can do both, you'll fucking succeed. That's really what it comes down to. You just have to put your product, are you selling a service, or are we selling a product? Is your product different than something else out there? Is it better than something else out there? Do you have 100 people that will buy the product even if it's not better? I mean, there's a lot of variables to it. Do you believe in what you're building? Are you building it for the money? Or are you building it because you love building it and you believe in what you're building? If you can do that, the money will come always, almost always. But you didn't really give us enough information. The other thing is, when you work for yourself, you don't have company health care. You don't have, all that shit. And you need to remember that every dollar that comes through your business, 35 cents of that needs to go into another account for taxes, because that's what they're going to take. No matter how you manipulate it, no matter what happens, 35 cents of it goes someplace else. And when you have employees, that all fucking changes. Skully, I'm pretty sure that was a cinnamon-colored black bear sow chasing the black bear boar. Brown bears don't climb trees. They knock them over. Okay.
And I am sure that there is not a bear in the world that is described as cinnamon.
There actually is. Rob and Brittany say brown bears absolutely can climb trees. You may be right. I just never seen one climb that well. She was up and down the tree. Well, you ever seen a chick get 5 fucking dicks in her body at one time? I haven't either, but I guarantee you if you search on the internet, that special lady is out there.
It's true.
I saw the same video. It was definitely a brown bear. No doubt the big brown bear flew up the tree.
Maybe it was cinnamon. I don't know. The sun was kind of, on the bear. Maybe it was a fucking brown bear.
E-commerce.
Or a cinnamon.
E-commerce is what I do. If that guy selling the oil sees this, contact me, point you in the right direction for online sales.
Oils?
I don't know.
Somebody selling oils?
Maybe I missed something. If e-commerce is what you do, I got some e-commerce. I got some shit to sell. Contact me. And when you contact me, don't be like the other 100 people that contact me a day trying to sell me e-commerce services, because I usually reply, fuck off. So give me some actual dialogue. Like people, like every day I get, hey, I looked at your webpage. You're not ranked #1. I really like your products. I'm like, yeah, what product did you like the best? Well, I like your special operations equipment. Really? Which one?
Which one?
Well, I use your belt. Oh, what belt do you have? Like, it's like they dig just enough to like fucking get a reply. Selling exotic car allocations is the same problem the watch world is dealing with right now. It's very hard to find a sport Rolex at an authorized dealer, Submariner, Sea Dweller, or Daytona. So, a lot of dealers will hold the warranty card for a year to make sure you don't flip the watch. Other dealers will make you take the sticker off or get the back engraved to try to stop you from flipping it. Yeah, so you go in and buy it, and then they want to fucking not give you all the shit so you can sell your fucking Rolex. That's true.
That's weird. Make more Rolexes.
Well, when I buy...
I mean, they're not really the...
When I buy fucking Breitlings, they give me a fucking digital card. When I buy Hublots, I'm pretty sure all my Hublots came with digital fucking cards.
I will say this, if you're actually interested
like electronic fucking warranty cards.
If you're actually interested in a Rolex, I find the best place to go is Hong Kong. Because there was a dude there that sold me 8 of them right in the alley.
Holy shit.
Like 8 Rolexes.
Oh shit! I
got all the colors. I got.
But when you jump in the pool, they don't.
Well, that's why you get 8.
Yeah.
Because you just don't want to fuck around with warranty cards and bullshit like that.
So when you're gonna jump in the pool, you have your pool watch that's already fried.
Yeah, a true baller just throws his fucking Rolexes away when they stop working. That's how a true baller rolls.
Yeah.
Just fucking throws them in the dumpster.
I thought you were gonna talk about gray market. Speaking of people showing up for free shit, my days in the Marine Reserve included working with Toys for Tots. Great organization. I love to death, and just knowing how the kids benefit from all of it is worth it. Standing around collecting toys and taking them in a 7-ton to the people. Do we have 7-ton trucks? Taking them in a 7-ton truck for all the people to sort them is fun. Then there is the working the day all the parents come to pick up their free toys. Holy shit, it's unbelievable. Most people are very grateful, and you can tell they are probably going through rough times. The other 10% of the people are either complaining about what they saw, or people carrying out, or they showed up with a really nice expensive car. There was one December, I can recall, loading toys in not just one, but 2 fucking Cadillac Escalades on the same day. This was either 2009, 2010 when this happened. Also, we'll never forget seeing the one kid's bag and his name was Tupacalypse, like Tupac the rapper. Holy shit!
Tupacalypse.
I'm gonna name my next kid
Tupacalypse. What's up, Tupacalypse?
I'm gonna have Biggie and Tupac.
Tupacalypse. Well, you know, it sucks. It sucks that there are shitty parents out there like that. But you know, outside of the fact that those people were probably reselling those toys that were driving the Escalade, maybe those are the only toys that those kids are going to get because their parents are so fucked up that they spent their money on cars that they can't afford.
Yeah.
So it might still be, you know, just at that point you just have to not worry about the shitty ass parents and think about, well, maybe the kid will enjoy this toy.
Plus, you looked fucking awesome in that uniform. So
yeah.
That's why most people join the Marine Corps.
Of course. It's for the chicks.
It's for the uniform.
Because of the chicks.
Because of the uniform.
It's just because of the chicks.
You get pussy stains on the uniform from the chicks.
Oh, man. You don't know how... The fucking dress blue is the worst uniform. Because you just tear that motherfucker up.
I would wear that Nutcracker uniform.
Oh, fuck. You
like
just
the
tear
red
it
one
up.
with the big hat.
Every Marine Corps ball just costs you money. Your shoes get tore
But
up.
I wouldn't want that
pants
bullshit
get fucking
bullpup gun. I'd want like a nice
real one?
wooden...
A nice wooden one?
Yeah.
An infield. That one's what you need. Infield.
Love the podcast and the gear. Credit score is 820. Dealer still hosed me on the interest rate. It's funny when you start making money how people come up with stuff barely getting by and they look at you as an ATM machine. Well, don't let them hose you on the interest rate.
Yeah, walk away from it.
Walk away. Like
there's another dealer.
Like I went to buy a Porsche Cayman cash. They wanted $30,000 for it. I had 20 or 25, or they wanted 25. They'd come down from like 35 to 25. We walked in. I didn't even know what a Porsche Cayman was. It just had a cool big fin on it. It was a car I could afford, and it was a fucking Porsche, and it wasn't a Boxster. So I'm in. So I'm like, I test drive this car. We come off and off. We come on an on-ramp, slide over one lane. We're at 80, you hit 120, downshift. The dude's like losing. He's like, slow down, slow down. I'm like, chill. I've got this. So we loop back around, come in. It's got all kinds of sensors going off and lights and all kinds of shit. I'm like, what's this fucking gauge? What's this mean? What's this check engine light? Oh, it's just a servo. It needs to be reset. Well, on a Lambo, fucking, if you get a servo out or a check engine light, that's fucking, those sensors are 10 grand, like minimum $10,000. So that's all I know. I don't know shit about Porsche, but I knew that. So I'm looking at the car. I'm like, what's up with this? He goes, well, the service manager's been driving it. I go, I know. You guys have had this car for a year. I found all your Craigslist ads, and I know that this car's been here. I know you're at 25. So we walk in, and I'm like, I'll give you, they wanted 30 and I had 25, or they wanted 25 and I had 20. I had 5 less than what they're asking. And I go, I will give you 20 grand for the car. I think it was 25, right? And he goes, oh, well, we can't do that. I go, I have cash. It's in this bag right here. There's $20,000 in this bag.
In this brown paper sack?
In this bag. It was in a tool bag. I had 20 grand. And I go, we're on a Jeep dealership. I go, I always buy 2 cars. I'll probably buy one of these Jeeps also. We'd gone out and, looked at it and shit, waiting for him to pull the car around. And he's like, well, let me talk to my manager or whatever. So we're sitting at a table. He walks like 10 feet away from us to this chick that's at like this booth. And she's like, yeah, you better add $5,000. And I looked back there, and he came walking over, and I just got up and went to leave. And he goes, hey, she said, is there any way you could add a little more? I go, that's not what she said. I go, you tell that foul-mouthed fucking cunt that I will never buy anything here, and I promise you I will have a fucking car by the end of the weekend. So we leave. The dude calls me. So I find one on eBay at Exotic Motors in Atlanta, which is, I bought 3 cars from them now. That's how I started doing business. I go on eBay, I find this car. I find a car that's 2 years newer, has less mileage, and is an S model, the sport model, not a plain one. And it's fucking perfect. It's the car I bought. Yeah. And they wanted $35 for it. So I'm like, I will buy this. At like midnight, I'm like, hey, I want to buy this car. And the dude gets back to me at 1 in the morning. His name is Roger Everson. I still do business with him to this day. He finds black Ferraris with black interior and red stitching. Every time he finds one, he sends me photos of it. I love it. And that dude got back to me at 1, and I'm like, I will buy this car. And he's like, okay. So I called Marty. I texted Marty or pinged Marty, whatever, at midnight, 1:30 in the morning on Friday night. And I'm like, I want to buy this. He's like, I'll meet you at the bank in the morning. So he comes into the bank, fucking does whatever we needed. I don't remember what we did, but he wire transferred or gave me a check. I don't remember which it was. We went in, talked to these guys, and I bought the fucking car. I drove to Atlanta Saturday, got the car, drove around Atlanta, came home Sunday night. Monday morning, dude's like, hey man, we got them talked down and they'll take your $20,000. I'm like, I told you I'll never fucking buy a car from you because that fucking foul-mouthed cunt in there. He goes, what are you talking about? I go, your service manager. I was standing 10 feet, I was sitting 10 feet away from her when she said, yeah, he better add another $5,000 fucking dollars. Like, I'm not adding that myself. She actually said that. And I go, I bought a fucking car, man. And I started sending him photos. That dude fucking hit me up like a dozen more times over the next 4 months asking if I wanted to buy the car. I'm like, I bought it, dude. I've bought 2 fucking Porsches since I was there with cash. You guys still haven't sold this fucking car. I would have taken the fucking car. Instead, I bought something better because of you.
Did you favor?
Yeah, really did. Because that wasn't the car to get. That wasn't the S model. It had a fucking stupid-ass big fin on it, which I thought I wanted. Like I just sat on my ass and money and success rained down on from heaven without working on any of it, never realizing if they stopped looking at everyone around them and focused on their own lives, they could succeed too. I had a squib load in a 38 Special a few years ago, and it scared the ever-living shit out of me. I no longer shoot homemade reloads from friends, only factory reloads. Something else about that, like if you just keep telling them no, like if they know you're seriously a buyer, like I bought a TRD Pro. Walked in, bought it, didn't haggle, didn't negotiate, nothing. 6 months to the day later, I walked in and wanted to trade it in, and they wanted to jack me on the resale value. And everything I'd always heard about Toyota was resale value, high resale value. Because if you go to buy a used one, the fucking price is still almost as much as it was brand new. So you just keep saying no. And you go, look, and I mean, I had a little leverage, I guess, because we'd made videos with the Toyota. We tagged the dealership. I actually had the phone number to the owner of the dealer. I had a head sales guy who worked for the owner, but at another dealership. So I kind of had a loop around that they didn't know I had. So when I'm like, hey, fuck it, I'll just trade this in at the Dodge dealership. I already talked to George. And they're like, how do you know George? I go, it doesn't matter how I know George, but I know your boss's boss, and I'm going to have a truck today. Like, if you can't do this, so I mean, we got him down $7,000, and that was Pierre. I got to give him credit. That was Pierre, $7,000 down from what we got him to raise my buyback value on my truck. Because if you don't know, like, you don't just take your shit in and swap it and it stays. They actually have to pay it off, and then you have to refinance or renegotiate. Whatever you're going to do or pay it. So we got him to do that, lower the price of the vehicle, and then throw some other shit in with it. And then something else you might or might not know. So I prepaid all my services for like 6 years on the truck. I'm only keeping the truck for 6 months. The truck comes with 2 years of free service, which they don't tell you. So when I go to pick the truck up, we're going to relinquish that fucking service. We're not going to attach it to the new vehicle. Because I'm only going to keep the new truck for fucking 6 months or 12 months, whatever. They'll write me a check for $3,700 back of the unused service. So they will actually hand me, John Willis, a check for $3,700. So just say no. Like, I'm like, look, just go get the guy. And like, they don't even argue. They don't even ask you who the guy is, because fucking they know who the guy is. Go get the guy. So while I'm waiting for the guy, another sales guy comes out. And I'm like, you're not the guy. I go, you're cool. I know you remember me from before. I go get the guy. And the guy doesn't want to come out. So eventually they just gave us he's like, look, man, how much do you want off of here? I'm like, $5,000. And he's like, we can't do $5,000. Can you come down any? I go, yes, I will do $4,995. He goes, that's what this says. I go, yeah, I was asking for $5 extra. I want exactly this off of here. I just said 5,000 because it was easier than saying 400, 900. And you know what they did at the end 4 hours later? Took the $4,995 off.
You wore them down.
Pierre, man, I wouldn't have even to go. I just wanted to go. I wanted to go get a truck and be there less than an hour.
Yeah, and that never happens.
That 3 hours. That 3 hours would have cost $7,000. I saved $7,000 because of the 3 hours. I'm going to start my own party for people who aren't a fan of Nazis or Jews or anyone really. Guidelines will be never violate the NAP and don't speak. Not like libertarians, they are kind of limp-wristed. More like hatertarians. Non-aggression principle. That's the NAP. But basically what that means is we're not going to fuck with you if what you're doing doesn't fuck with us. If you're not harming somebody, we don't care. You want to smoke weed? Fine. As long as you're not burning my house down while you're smoking your weed. We don't care what you do. You don't fuck with me, I won't fuck with you. You stay on your side, I'll stay on my side. That's the non-aggression principle.
Oh, wow.
Ta-da!
Ta-da, look at that.
I've actually got a lot more, but I know
Well, it's already
probably nap time. I know you gotta go
tired.
home and eat some chicken noodle soup or something.
Chicken noodle. I don't like chicken noodle.
Well, then bring it to me Monday.
You like chicken noodle?
If Gina makes fucking soup, I'll eat it.
She hasn't made soup in a long time.
We'll have her Amish friend make me some soup. Or dumplings.
Dumplings. The Amish makes. I don't like chicken noodle soup, but that I can't say it on camera because Gina will be mad. Because that chicken noodle soup that the Amish girl made was fucking. It was off the charts. It was so good.
I'd get some cornbread if I was you too.
No, I'm not getting any cornbread. You know cornbread?
Cornbread from the Amish.
But you know cornbread was in Saudi Arabia? Cornbread flew to fucking...
Who is cornbread?
You know who cornbread is.
Why would she go to Saudi
I
Arabia?
I have no idea. I think her new boyfriend is a terrorist. Maybe.
Dude, would it
maybe
surprise
not a
you?
terrorist.
Would it fucking surprise you?
It wouldn't surprise me, but she was in the fucking... The land of... Which... I don't know why any woman would want to go over to a place...
Especially her.
Where they fucking hate women.
Especially a white, southern...
Yeah.
Cornbread cooking girl.
Yeah, but you know how that is. They hit all the tourist areas, so they don't really have to deal with the fact that the women are treated like shit in that part of the world.
She's the only woman in the country with a clitoris.
That is true. Later, haters.